You're a pollen chucker. You're not a breeder. You're just popping a seed. You're not a pheno hunter. I don't believe in any of that. I think if you're hunting genetic traits, you are a pheno hunter. So my view is very empowering in that regard.
Not to get too far off track, but I do want to add, you brought up pollen chucking. Now, a lot of people are against pollen chucking. You think it's okay? You're completely fine with that?
I mean, listen, it's different. It's everybody has their own values and principles, right? But to me, if you breed something, you are a breeder. I know that there's a difference between just putting two things together and then actually doing like a full IBL. I understand that those are differences, but the word breeder to me means one who breeds. And I can't tell you, some of the best genetics I've ever gotten were just a guy in his basement that had two strains that he liked and he put them together. And I'm like, this is an amazing cross. And he's going, yeah, but I'm not a real breeder. I hate to see that type of limiting belief. There's no difference between what you made in your garden than the guy who did a 100-plant pheno hunt. Yours is just a smaller selection. So I like to empower people. Breeding is easy. Breeding is easy and fun, and I think everyone should do it. So that's my view.
It's interesting you say that. I did a podcast episode several years ago now with Vader OG, Ocean Grown Genetics, and I had mentioned to him, hey, I did my first cross. I crossed, but I don't really consider myself a breeder. I just did this one cross. And he's like, no, you're a breeder. You did a cross. You crossed a plant. You took pollen from one plant, pollinated a female, and made seeds. That's breeding. So you're a breeder. And I'm like, well, okay.
Exactly.
All right. Ever since then,
I totally
it made
agree.
sense. And you just mirrored exactly what he had mentioned in that talk. So that's pretty cool to hear.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And I completely agree. And I like to look at my principles and values as, okay, well, what's the result? If the result is telling people, hey, it is easy, showing people how to do it and saying you are a breeder, that means more medicine, more seeds. If you're there gatekeeping and putting people down and calling people names because they didn't do it the way you do it, that's just going to result in less people growing. That is the definition of gatekeeping, in my opinion. And I don't condone people like releasing unstable genetics into the gene pool and not telling people, but that's not usually what's happening, man. Usually you've got really desirable cultivars being crossed to really desirable cultivars and a lot of fun stuff coming out of it. So that's what I like to see, is as many people doing it as possible.
This clip is brought to you by AC Infinity. Use discount code MrGrowIt15 to save on any of their products.